All right, welcome to Beyond the Road, the trucking industry podcast. We are here for our September edition. It's been a crazy year in the flatbed industry, and I'm pleased here today to have Stacy and Jordan, two managers from our specialized customer service group. Can you two give a quick intro on yourself, how long you've been in ATS, your roles, etc.?
Yeah. I'll go first. I'm Stacy Thielen. I've been at ATS for 4 years and been in the manager role for about a year now.
Jordan Holthouse, 9 years at ATS and a customer service manager.
All right, so I have a bunch of questions for you guys about the state of the market and what to expect coming up. But before we get into that, I do want to tease our customer portal, ATS's customer portal. We came out with a refresh of that just recently with a couple more updates. Stacy, can you give a quick explanation on what that is for anybody that might be interested?
Yeah, so we've revamped it a little bit from what it was before. There's load tracking. You can request a quote right from the portal. There's some reporting that you can do. You can set up notifications if you want to be notified certain times of the day. A lot of cool features that are on it. So
and there's a couple updates coming up. One in October and one December, correct?
Yeah, so October, there's going to be some invoicing features that are going to be coming in, proof of delivery, so you can get that. And then there's also a user guide that we have. It's pretty user-friendly right now. Some feedback that we've gotten from customers is that it's simple, but yet effective. So, yeah.
Good. And why is something like a portal beneficial or useful to customers in today's environment?
I think the quicker responses, CSRs are doing things a lot during the day. They can just go on there at any point in time and track a load. All of their loads are showing on there. They need, proof of delivery or quoting. Like it's simple for them.
Cool.
And yeah.
Sounds like an awesome product.
Yeah.
So we will give more info on that at the end of this podcast. So you guys have to watch all of it to get there. And we'll start off, I guess, just getting into the current market. It's been a long year. We can call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm. We're grinding.
Yeah, yep. I didn't notice in any of the numbers I look at any major changes anywhere in the last month or so. Is that pretty accurate?
We've been pretty stationary, to be honest, as far as the market goes.
Yeah. I know that this time of year, though, can lead to some changes, right? I mean, we got seasonality.
Yeah.
There's always kind of a thing in flatbeds.
Yeah, we're wrapping up summer right now. We're getting into those winter months. Obviously, we have more projects during the summer, so we're wrapping up a lot of that construction projects. Right. However, I mean, as far as industry goes, egg is down, but I know power is still very strong.
Yeah, the crop prices just aren't there for the farmers. They're not buying equipment and stuff right now.
I think interest rates are still a major challenge too. So, if something would have cost you $2,000 in payments a month 2 years ago, and now it's $3,000, that might make a difference in whether or not you purchase something.
Right. So yeah, we've seen a little bit with that affecting the egg.
So you mentioned seasonality and projects and everything. Do the trucks behave a little bit differently at different times of the year? Do you see more heading south in the winter? Do they spread out more in the summer? How does that kind of shake out?
Obviously in the summer, we're dealing with a lot of nicer weather all over the nation. So we got drivers that are willing to go anywhere. Once you have winter coming around, though, everyone's kind of like, I want to head down south. I want to stay warm.
Yeah.
I don't want the snow coming at me.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But we are based out of Minnesota, so we do have the capacity still. We're still coming up here, no problem, but just expect that capacity constraints, obviously, which leads to increased rates at times.
Yeah, talk me through that. So how does the rate, if you're talking the spot price market, I know contract rates are going to be fixed for a longer period of time. How do you see that shifting between, summer and winter in different areas? Is there certain areas of the country where you can do stuff for much cheaper in the winter than in the summer and vice versa?
Yeah.
Always. I mean, but I guess our biggest point too is at ATS anyway, we're always trying to fill our holes. We're leaning on our network pretty much of where our drivers are landing. We're just really trying to focus on loading up our trucks exactly where they're landing.
Sure. So that's a good segue. We got RFQs coming up, right? I know traditionally it might be called RFP to some of our customers. RFQ, RFP, same thing, request for quote, request for price. That is a product in our industry where we get bid opportunities from customers that are for some duration of length. It could be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever it is. And talk to me about how that plays into the network and how you kind of use where our trucks are at to prepare for the bid season. You know, is there data we look at there? Do you guys look at, and does that factor into like the pricing level we give people as far as like where our trucks are, where they aren't, or how does that?
Yeah,
flow?
this is my first year being in this position and actually being through this process. So it's a learning experience for me. Meeting with our pricing team and sales, going over, like you said, where the holes are in our market, and if we need more loads out of one area, we're going to go a little bit lower with that, and then where we don't have a lot of trucks, you're probably going to be a little bit higher in the rate. So. Being strategic about things, the way it works, but like I said, it's a learning process for me because this is my first year going through it, so it's interesting to learn the process.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily for our customers and even us internally, we have tools in place that are helping us with that. We can literally see on a day-to-day basis where our trucks are landing, so that way we're being strategic as far as those RFQs. If we want to hit up a certain network, if we want to be in a certain region, every Friday or whatever it may be, each month, each week, we're constantly looking at that internally.
Yeah, it's interesting how much data has changed our jobs. I've been at ATS for close to 17 years, and we've been around since 1955. So there's stuff done well before the technological advancements that I even started at. There was magnets with trucks on it showing where they were in the country, not that long ago. But even when I started, it was all email, faxes. There weren't customer portals.
Are you aging yourself?
Yeah, I'm much older than I look. And there weren't portals or TMS systems or anything like that to measure things as closely as they do, nor the workflow kind of pieces of it, having to deliver stuff out in a website or upload a BOL or anything like that. So
I would say even just in the last, I've been here 4 years and was in the CSR role, like the last few years, just internally, the data that we have it's pretty amazing what you can gather. So
yeah. So also this time of year, there's a lot of things happen in September. September's a busy time in flatbeds. You got quarter end coming up. How does that play out in your guys' world? Does that create any extra stress any part of the month? Is it just kind of something Wall Street talks about and we don't really see any result of that? How does that play out in your guys' world?
Yeah, and we usually are busy. It's busy. Capacity gets a little bit tighter. I would say it's stressful.
It's stressful.
Everybody's trying to get everything out.
So what does that look like? Talk me through it to somebody that's not familiar with a customer that has a quarter end push. I mean, is it just more volume?
Yeah, so they want to get pushed everything out so it's out by the end of the quarter. So sometimes they're coming at you at the last minute. It's like, I need to get this out. It has to be picked up today. Our reps were working with planning to try to get that out. Can be a little bit stressful, but we try to provide solutions to get it out to help them. Working with the planners, working internally. So
yeah, you're going to see a lot of more spot quote opportunity, I guess, on our end. The reason being, we might not be able. Capacity is going to be a little tighter. We're running all over the place. We're busy, but we're willing to provide that option at least. If it's a different day, different rate, whatever it may be, we're willing to give a price for it to get it done.
Right.
Is there anything a customer can do in those scenarios to help mitigate some of the chaos and price?
Flexibility,
I would say. And as soon as you know that everybody knows the end of the month is coming and what's involved with it. So the sooner that you can get, with your carrier and say, hey, I've got this coming up, like it needs to be out of here. What can you do? So the sooner that you can get the information to us, and like Jordan said, flexibility, not just picking up on the last day of it. Can we pick up a day or two before and still, make it, just being flexible.
Like Stacy said, communication is huge on both ends. We've got our CSR reps that are reaching out to customers. We should be talking daily, weekly, monthly, even with our accounts, just to make sure that, anything that they have coming up, that we're taking care of it, especially with month end, quarter end. We understand that there's a big push to get inventory out.
Yeah, and just one area too that I've seen in the past before be a solution is if we can get equipment to a customer, a lot of times it doesn't physically have to maybe leave the yard to be able to be realized as having shipped on the customer side for month-end, quarter-end numbers. You know, a lot of times it just needs to be loaded on a trailer.
The trailer, yep.
And maybe even just pull outside a gate. Maybe if they have a yard dog that can do that or something like that. That's one way I've seen people get around some of the end of quarter, end of month pressures of actually being able to try to find a warm body able and willing to get in there within the time frame needed to call quarter end.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, ATS, we've got resources. We've got yards. You know, we have the ability to provide that solution at least, move things around if need be, if that's what a customer is looking for.
So that kind of leads to a question I want to talk to you guys about. We talked briefly about, you know, 3PLs, TMS systems, and, you know, some of the back and forth when some of those tight capacity situations arise. How have you seen relationships between customers and providers kind of evolve over time?
Yeah, I know we were just talking about this earlier as well. So, you know, we're just stressing that to have that communication and that partnership with the customer. And now that a lot of them are moving to a 3PL, you know, you can still have that relationship and that conversation with them. It just looks differently because you're not dealing with the people that are actually shipping it, the people that are on the floor doing it. But still just trying to have that relationship with them.
It's still important. Yeah.
Right. You need to understand the customer's busy times and what everything about their business. So communication is still huge. It just looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still putting a heavy emphasis as far as the relationship. It's just with different people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not on site, but
you know, at the end of the day, the automated automated reality of today's world, where, you know, you can do waterfall tenders and X, Y, or Z that gets more black and white. It's where you're stacked up on a piece of paper in some cases. I know there's more that goes into the consideration outside of just the rate. You know, they consider service and other things, but it's changed it because you still want to be able to work with people that you trust and you enjoy working with. So that relationship piece, even though there's a piece of paper that might be dictating it more black and white than it used to be before, because it's automated, it's built into a waterfall system, tendering system, there is still the age-old wisdom that, you know, you work with, you know, who you trust and who you enjoy working with, and that's going to come into play a lot. So it is. I agree. I think it's very important to get relationships still forefront of everybody's minds. Another big change coming up in the industry, not necessarily right now, but in the near future, is everything going on out in California.
Yes, that is the big
emissions.
hot topic right now.
Yeah. How does that play out in your guys' world? What does that mean to ATS and other providers?
Yeah, so right now we're working on registering the drivers. It's a process. It can take, you know, up to 2 to 3 weeks to get them registered. So we're working on getting everything ahead of before the actual, was it January?
Should be January.
January.
I know it's changed over time.
It's up in the air right now, a lot of details.
Right, yeah. So we're working through the details, getting everything ready on our side, getting as many drivers as we can so they're California able, that they're able to be registered and comply with everything. It is putting a little, you know, on capacity right now then, because, you know, we're down to only how many drivers that we have that are registered, so that kind of limits it, but we're working through the process.
It limits the capacity, which also upticks in the price, of course, too. I mean, we've got drivers that we got to bounce, I mean, however far away, 500 miles if we got to get them over there to get something shipped, but we're willing to do it. It's just that flexibility comes into play a lot of times.
Yeah, are you guys familiar with all the steps needed to be compliant, or all the entire process itself? I'm not 100% an expert on anything. What I understand, though, is it's not just, you know, like before, where you needed a certain engineer model in order to be able to do business there. There's like emissions testing and everything that needs to be done, and it needs to be done at specific locations.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on all of the details. Our operations working on all of that. I know the registration, getting them in, and then I believe it is twice a year that they have to get the tested. They get a little sticker showing that, everything is certified and that they're good to go. As far as anything more than that,
I wish we had more details.
I know.
Honestly, it's something where you can talk to how many different people in this industry and no one really knows exactly
and the
what
impact
needs to be
on
done.
how it's going to play out. You get very different opinions. Some people, it's literally the sky's falling.
Yeah.
California is going to fall into the ocean because everybody's going to be so ticked off and nobody's going to want to go there or whatever.
Yeah.
Just know that
analogy
ATS
they
is
give.
trying to at least lead the way.
Right. We're on it.
We're ready for it at least
Yeah.
because we also have other solutions. I know we have an ATS international yard in Arizona that helps us kind of potentially get around that or helps us a little bit as far as storage and everything else.
So what that helps because if it's in Arizona and as long as it didn't originate in California, you can avoid having to go into California at all, right?
Bingo.
Right.
Yes, 100%. We can always shuttle drivers if that's what we need to make on-time delivery, but it provides a solution to get the product at least off their dock.
And let's be very clear, we are not anti-California. We just are trying to find ways to get the most capacity towards the business in the western part of the U.S.
Absolutely. Just might take a little bit more money or a little bit more flexibility on time.
Okay. Anything else going on in the industry you guys think needs to be discussed out there?
Everybody's feeling it right now everywhere. And I think just everyone's kind of waiting for it to be done.
All right, let's talk silver linings then. We've had a lot of negativity on this podcast over the last 6 months. We've been in quicksand, just kind of struggling there. Bright spots. What's going well? Power industry, I hear, is doing well, right? Everybody needs energy, and there's a bunch of different renewables that are going out there and trying to find ways to transfer, store, harness that stuff as best as possible. Right.
Project division staying busy.
Right.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that the biggest bright spot you got right now? Is kind of that power group and
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would have to say.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside there too. There's a lot of electrical infrastructure grid stuff that needs to be kind of played out yet with introducing solar and wind and all the different renewable options you have out there to the nation.
I guess I do have a question for you, Justin. I mean, I don't remember exactly how many years have you been at ATS?
Just under 17.
Okay. So in your time at ATS,
Yeah.
have you seen it this bad, this market?
Yeah. I started in 2008 and it was in March and it was busy for about 5 or 6 months. And then the whole mortgage bubble burst. And that ultimately led to, expanding out just beyond housing and housing related stuff. But as you guys know, a lot of the stuff we do is directly tied to that, between building products or any kind of machinery being used to build homes or, dig holes, anything like that. So it was ugly. Yeah, it was, in my opinion, I haven't looked up any historical charts. I know that I've seen a lot of the same stuff. A lot of our listening audience has, that this is the longest freight recession we've had, right? It felt like it was more violent back in 2009, 2010. Yeah, there was just more of that just decrease on volume of freight being out there. Where this last year or so, it's felt like there hasn't been any volume. I know there's been some, but there hasn't been any major volume reductions. It's more that there's a glut of capacity out there. There's just so many providers out there, and that's what's beating the rates down more than this customer just isn't producing anything right now, or they don't have, they got 20% of what they used to have. There's certainly segments like that out there right now where industries are getting hit harder than others, but there's industries that are busier than others as well. So I would say the bottom isn't as low as the bottom, but it's been longer for sure. It's definitely been longer.
There's your silver lining, though. We come out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Ride the waves.
Great
we'll
point,
get there.
right? It's the world needs transportation, physically, like literally.
Right.
We need to be able to deliver goods
Right.
to our public. So, great way to end it. I agree. Okay. Well, again, customer portal. new features out there, reach out to your ATS rep. If you need an invite on there, we're happily and gladly sending them out to anybody interested in that product. I think you would be very pleased by engaging with it. It's nothing but pros at the customer level. It just gives you more quick action triggers and an ability to kind of not have to rely on somebody getting back to you for a lot of the different features that you might want to tackle and track down any business day. So reach out to your ATS rep. Otherwise, certainly be on the lookout for the next Beyond the Road, the trucking industry podcast coming out next month. We'll have another great update for you. And please make ssure to check out our learning hub at atsinc.com. And have a great rest of the month. Thank you.